Who said you can't teach an old dog new tricks? Hi, I'm Gail Rubenstein, the founder and CEO of a company called Retail Resilient, social selling for the car industry. And we help auto dealers, auto agencies, and vendors in the auto industry sell more cars, service more cars, and make more money using our social selling strategy. That includes TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and anything else you can think of. So if you're looking to invest thousands and make millions, we're definitely the social selling company for you. Like I said, who said you can't teach an old dog new tricks?
If you run a service drive, you know these days first impressions matter. But when your advisors are tied up with inbound phone calls, they tend to neglect their other, more important duties. And did you know 75% of all service calls are frequently asked questions in routine requests? The average dealer misses up to 30% of inbound calls, adding up to a ton of missed service opportunity and increased customer churn. 68% of callers actually go elsewhere if they can't get through, which means you could be losing $60,000 to $70,000 every month in service revenue simply from missing calls. Introducing Brooke.
Hi there.
Your best service scheduling assistant. Brooke is the first intelligent digital voice assistant to answer, handle, and appoint all of your inbound service calls. Hiring Brooke means absolutely no call goes unanswered, boosting your customer satisfaction and reducing your overhead costs. And talking to Brooke is like talking to a friend.
Necessary, whether to a service advisor, roadside assistance, or a live agent. And I can do it without missing a beat.
You really do check all the boxes. Book with Brooke today.
Everybody wants to be part of a bigger story.
We're a small company, but we're going to change the whole industry.
So this is the Auto Hub Show live from NAGA 2022, or as I keep saying, the International Automotive Hub Fest, which everybody's liking to see each other for the first time in a long time. Well, yeah, you're just not my type of hub. But welcome everybody. It's Jeff Polo here. Ian Nethercott, my better half of this show anyways. He's kind of tied up, so I'm left here, but I'm left here talking to Troy Glenn of CDK Global. And Troy's a big fan of the show, and we get to see him all the time. He's guested a couple of times, and he's even learned our own version of the other one, which is the floppy ears of the Basset Hound from Retail Resilient. So Troy, how's the show going for you?
You know, the show's been amazing. Frankly, you said it yourself right off the hop. Hugfest. We haven't seen some of these folks in 2-3 years. Even my own coworkers I haven't seen in 2 years. This really has been a big family reunion for us, but also an opportunity to see our dealers, see our coworkers, see our competitors in an environment that we didn't even know existed, for the last couple of years, right, with no masks. And honestly, it's been the most positive experience that we've had in NADA for years.
It's really something. Actually, you touched on something very interesting. You said our competitors. And this is really the first time in my career that I've ever come across where everybody says the same words. We like our competitors. And I've yet to hear anybody, even walking by booths, nobody saying to anybody, well, our thing is better than those guys because they take their young and they pluck their ears off. And it's good. It's really good. And to compete on a level of, hey, I like my competitors, that's a good thing.
In all honesty, our competitors make us better. It's great to have innovation from our dealers, and we get suggestions from our customers all the time, and we take those very seriously. But honestly, having great, healthy competition is what makes us have to improve, rise up our game, and innovate. And so, yeah, if it wasn't for competitors, a lot of these companies wouldn't exist today. And frankly, even the floor of the NADA trade show over the last 5, 10, 15 years has changed the complexion. 100%. It's unrecognizable now because of the new startup and disruptive companies.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, I'm looking over here at a company that does private party purchasing vehicles for dealers, and heck, 2 years ago there was one, if anybody. Now there's so many of them. But here's a perfect example. We're sitting here at the Poly booth, and by the way, the Poly just won the best booth at NADA. So congratulations to them. It's a pretty cool booth, and nobody will let me on the shuffleboard, so I don't know. But the fact that you're here, they're here, and unfortunately, I think CDK competes with absolutely everybody, right?
Well, here's the thing about CDK, and yes, we do compete with a lot of other companies, but I will say this: dealers love choice. They need to have options. When a dealer gets told what to do, that's not a great thing. They have different, there's different business models across different geographies with different markets and different OEMs. And honestly, dealers like that choice. And so we do have a lot of great products, don't get me wrong. But what we really are proud of is the fact that we want to integrate with everybody. So whatever that third party is, whatever that service or product is, we want to do that. And that's really the wave of the future. The software that dealers are using today in some cases didn't exist a year ago. And the stuff that they're going to be using 5 years from now is probably still in someone's head in their garage while they're developing it. So honestly, it's the systems and the organizations and the companies like the ones we see here that are willing to integrate and grow are the ones that are going to be here next year and the year after that.
Yeah, that's very true. Well, before we went on to tape, you and I were talking about Tesla and how they're really the big dog right now in the EV world, and everybody's coming up. But he still had the foresight, the guts, the whatever to send out all this stuff to the internet anyway, 3, 4, 5 years ago. And perhaps if we didn't do that, we wouldn't have all these other companies today.
I agree with you in that if you look at the EV companies alone that are in here, whether it's charging stations or the EV models that are on display from the OEMs, the EV part of this show is massive, and it's going to only get bigger from here. But one of the things we were talking about before is our customers are car dealers, and the one thing that car dealers do exceptionally well is the customer experience. And I think that what dealers are realizing now is regardless of the vehicle, it's all about the customer experience. And we've gone through 2 years of really disruptive customer experience with pandemics and masks and appointment only and plexiglass, that to get right back down to handshaking and selling cars is what they really want to do. And dealers do a great job of that.
There's no question there. Many of us had to pivot during all this shutdowns, whatever terms you want, to try to build that type of experience online, on Zoom, on FaceTime, whatever it was, and it's a big thing. And yeah, everybody I'm hearing is excited about people coming into the store. Are you seeing new things designed around about creating an in-store experience that was mirrors the virtual one? Are you seeing any new products of that?
It's not just us, but a lot of organizations out here are doing that. And I think that what the pandemic has caused is a real need for an online ability to buy a car. And the truth of the matter is no two people take the same path to buying a car. Like some people will walk in and go, I want that vehicle right there. I'm paying whatever the sticker price says, and let's go sign the paperwork. But there are others that do all their research online. They might do a payment calculator. They might get their credit pre-approved. And then they might go in a store and look and kick some tires and go for a drive and then go back home and talk about what options they want with their significant other. Or maybe they get turned into a different direction with a vehicle altogether. Then if you can go back online and look at those again, that's really where it's at. So I think it's not just online car selling. It's not just in store. It's how do I make my customer journey make sense? Whether I started online or I started in the store and go home and come back and do something else, that's really where it's exceptional. And I think we're starting to see that every dealer and every OEM has acknowledged they need a digital presence of some sort, because there are clients that want to buy a car online, but there's also clients that want to go in the store.
Well, it's funny. I was speaking to somebody earlier today, and in an earlier cast. And he's saying that the dealers have to create an online engagement, very much like the last. Like salespeople, if there's a lead online, salespeople go, yeah, I'll take it. Then they go and have a coffee, read the paper, talk to their friends, and then eventually get back to the person. If they think they get back to them during the day, they're happy. But they're standing in the window while visiting, looking for an up, and three people get stuck in the door to run out the door. And that's when he said that to me. I'd never thought about it. I thought, then as I'm hearing, I'm going, wow, that's brilliant. It's true, but it's brilliant.
It wasn't that long ago when we heard the stat that 75% of people were doing car research on the internet before buying. And to us, that was a big number. Then a couple years later, we learned that 90% of people were doing car research, but they're doing it on mobile. And we're like, well, this is a game changer. They're not just sitting on their computer at home. Well, what we learned through our analytics and research is that that mobile shopper was actually standing beside a vehicle in a showroom, looking at pricing of a similar vehicle at another dealership and comparing them in real time. So it's not even the salesperson getting back to them. It's really just being that adaptive and nimble and transparent and fast. Like it's customers want to move, and they have the research done for most part.
Well, this isn't the world today. And you know something, we're echoing everything that's being said out here. What percentage of everything out here is digital?
You know what?
Just guess.
No, I would say easily 75%.
Yeah.
Is a software.
And 5 years ago.
5 years ago, I remember the day that we went to NADA and they announced that 50% was technology. Now it's more, and when you could argue that every single piece here has a technology component attached to it. Even the fellows that are selling uniforms down the way have ways to manage your account online and track things that way. So it's not going away. Digital's here. And the reality with the dealerships is many of them were uncomfortable changing their methodology. They're like, my dad did this, his dad did this, we've done handshake deals for years. Now, this is an industry that's found itself thrust into a digital age, but also it's great. It's efficient. Customers like it. It's transparent. And the last thing is it truly does, and there's lots of evidence to prove this, result in bigger gross profit for the dealers because the customers have the pricing in mind, they have the payment in mind. There's no need to go in and go back and forth and box anymore.
So how does the shortage of inventory affect the comment you just made? Because in some cases, people are saying, oh, I can get a car? Oh, this is like the early 2000s on Honda Civics and Corollas. Do you have a silver one? No. Do you have a blue one? No. What do you got? I got yellow. I don't like yellow. Well, you can wait 6 months. I'll take yellow. Can I get a discount? No, but by the way, that one's got $3,000 spoiler on it. So it is different.
I think what the inventory situation is truly the dealers that have gotten creative, whether it's through software solutions or trying different ways to acquire vehicles, whether it's through private parties like that company over there, or through online auction or in-person auction or other creative ways of getting vehicles. There's a dealership in British Columbia that has a full-time employee working in northern Alberta, buying trucks from people who work on the rigs that leave Alberta because their job's over or whatever, and they don't want to bring the truck back, and they're doing great volume. So if you're creative, there's cars out there, and those dealers are the most creative and most willing to try things. Some of them fail, but if you try nothing, you're going to be in exactly the same situation as the dealer that has to ring the lot with vehicles on the outside, so it looks like they've got something on the inside. We've seen them all, right?
Well, it's very funny. Innovation is what we're all about. And a long time ago, I won't admit it because I don't admit I was in the business that long ago. Dealer I worked for got innovative. It was a Ford store. He took a Ford pickup. He bought a camper, put it in the back, had a salesman, went up north, and he drove around from town to town up north, and he sold trucks like candy bars. it was crazy. And we had a delivery guy. The only problem was he lied. The only people called me and said, I don't know where the guy told me that the four-wheel drive switch was here. Well, they didn't have electric four-wheel drive, and he sold them a two-wheel drive for the price of the four-wheel. So, sorry, you were going to say?
No, I was just going to say, the other part of innovation is really transparency. That this online world is really driving things to be transparent, whether it's pricing or financing or inventory. If you go to a website and that inventory is not there and it blinks out, that you can't hide that. And so I think the transparency is going to benefit the consumer, which will benefit the customer experience, which will benefit the dealer.
Well, here's something very interesting. It's the innovation, and you will find independent large lots can be very innovative. And I know a few of them in our neck of the woods. We both live in Vancouver, BC, and or generally. And I know some used car dealers that have 300 and 400 used vehicles on the lot. 2021 Sierras, 2021 F-150s, Highlanders, Pilots, etc. And you go to the GM store across the street, and they have nothing. And they have 4 cars parked sideways to make it look like they got something. And I like to pick on these guys. There's a Toyota dealer not far from my house, and they've got 4 cars in the front. Why? Because he's got a pipeline coming. Can still deliver a 70, 80 new a month. Doesn't care about used because you can't make any money on used. I don't know if you know that. He's brilliant. He can't make any money on used. But yet I go on the auction and I look, and there's 2021, 2022 Highlanders. There's 2022 Tundras on the auction, bringing over MSRP. And if he had that Tundra on his lot, used, so he doesn't get in trouble, would he get more than that?
It's interesting you say that. I think that a lot of dealers have acknowledged the fact that they need to ramp up their used business because it keeps people in the family. I mean, if I don't have the vehicle for you, but with my OEM, but I can use a similar OEM, why would I do that? I mean, you're still going to get my great service. You're still going to get my great customer experience. And when you are in the market for a new vehicle, well, maybe you'll choose us. But why would I let someone walk out the door because I don't have the right model when I could have it? I mean, the Kia dealership just down the road from my house has one marquee spot in front of its lot for a halo vehicle, so to speak. That vehicle right now is a Jeep Gladiator at a Kia store. So it's like, hey, I got the market, I got the units, I've got cars, and if you want a pickup truck, this is a good one. What a great message, right?
Well, if it's the people I think of, they made their money. They became Kia so they could sell pickup. But it's a funny thing how we let these things just pass us by. And we see that. And I have a friend of mine, and he has a vehicle coming up on a manufacturer's list. I won't say what because we don't want to flag anybody. He cannot get a car. They will not extend his lease. So he has a choice. Buy it out or turn it in, order a new one, and we'll give you a discount on a new one in about 18 months. And the independent lease companies want 10, 12%, want a low residual, want fees and everything. What does somebody do?
It's a tough situation. There's no easy answer for that right now. But I will say that there are dealers, and I don't I should speak a little softly, but the dealers that have the big premium markups or the financing that's 10, 11, 12% or punitive, or the lack of flexibility in that lease, customers will remember that. This inventory shortage is not forever. At some point, things will normalize. People may still order factory order vehicles more often than they did previously. But I think once this normalizes, the dealers that did right by their customers will be the ones that are still standing. I ran into a dealer in the hotel yesterday, and he said, CDK Global, because I was wearing my shirt. He goes, I know you guys. And I said, what do? Do you sell cars? He said, no, I help people buy cars. And that's really the difference, is if you can help people find a vehicle in a tough time, they're going to remember you, refer all their friends, and all of that good stuff. So yeah, this inventory shortage, there's no easy answer, but man, the dealers that do it right, they're going to have customers for life.
I saw a poll on LinkedIn the other day, and it said, is charging over MSRP unethical? And it's amazing that the results, I can't remember exactly, were something in the neighborhood of 45% said no, 15% said yes, and the rest were somewhere.
I wouldn't say that it's unethical. I don't, because this is a free market business. Supply and demand exists; it's a real thing. We have a hot commodity. I will say, however, ethics notwithstanding, good customer service and treat your customers right will always win in that same free market economy. So that dealer that goes and grabs the short-term profit today and is opportunistic, unless they're planning on selling their dealership next year, they're not doing themselves any long-term favor.
Well, you know, all I think about is that dealer that sells somebody an XYZ platinum truck with a lift and with that stuff, which is super cool, just super cool. But then puts a 20 grand premium on top of everything, finances them for what 108 months at they're near prime, so they don't get the low rate. The low rates aren't anywhere near what they used to be either. And then all of a sudden, in 4 years, that person says, "Shucks, you know what? I can't handle $6 a gallon gas, or up in Canada, $2.50 or $3 a liter." And they say, "I gotta get rid of it." Oh, but you know your truck's worth like 50,000, but you owe $98,000 on. I can't help you.
You know, you're right. That's the unethical line. I mean, the fact is, dealers. You think about the used car dealer mentality, that whole plaid jacket kind of look. We have some work to do in our industry in terms of repairing some damage and our perception that customers have. We got to fix that, and a lot of dealers are. Customer experience is getting better and better all the time. There is still, you might remember this radio from our market, the radio ad, which was a Grand Caravan for $29,995, but it's $29,995, Jeff, with $10,000 cash back. You should come and buy one. Well, if I'm a person who's not in the car business and I heard that radio ad, I heard $29,995 with $10,000 cash back. I'm thinking it's $19,995. I'm all over this van. I'm coming to go buy it. But really, what it is it's $29,995 financed over 84 months. We're going to pay off all your bills and finance you an extra $10,000. Now you're at $34,999, $39,999 with an 84-month lease on the Grand Caravan that appreciated 50% on as soon as it walked off the lot. That to me is unethical. When you're using that kind of tactic, I don't like that.
And of course, in 3 months there'll be 25% cash back on it too. But you know, we always love to go for the low hanging fruit. You know, if somebody does bad. 90% of dealers are pretty stand up people.
More than that. I would say way more than that. And not only are they stand up people, we're talking about selling cars. There's also the same growth opportunity and experience growth opportunity in service. And honestly, if you could do a great job of taking care of your customer when they come in for their lube oil filter or some of their major services, the trust that you build there will get them back into that sales cycle. That's huge.
Well, it really is, and I think the opportunity, and we're just repeating stuff that's been repeated over and over and over again right now, is keeping those people in service. This brand, this friend of mine, why wouldn't, and the dealer, by the way, does not have any way to get them to extend their lease. It's a big group. They've got 5 stores, and they do, I don't know, 8,000 cars a year, whatever it may be, and they have no way to keep that customer. And all he could do, and it's a luxury line too on top of that. If it were me, I'd say, I'll tell you what, I'll subsidize this independent lease with this company. We'll extend you, and we'll order you a new car. A guy you know well from our show, and a fellow that we have lots on from out east, Bill Camasco, he does just that. Their lease is up. He gets them into a used car. He gets them on a payment plan, calls it a lease, whatever the rules are there, and orders them their new caddy. And they come in with a Land Rover.
Well, you know, and it's funny too, because being creative and not letting people leave the lot is exactly what every dealer wants every salesperson to do. They're like, why did that person leave? You know, go chase him down, go run after him, go throw yourself in front of their car, right? Well, sometimes it's just a matter of being creative and find a solution together. And it's like that dealer I ran into last night at the hotel. He's like, I don't sell cars, I help people buy cars. You know? Find a way.
That's the way. And actually something came up this morning too, is that there's somebody live on the lot. The manager goes to the salesman. What happened? Da, 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 da. Okay, call them down now. Say, by the way, I forgot to tell you it comes with an extra whatever. But the online leads, they don't do that, do they?
There's retargeting and remarketing and things like that. But there was a study that came out checking on online leads, and the number one response to an online lead during the study was calling. The second most common response, Jeff, was nothing at all.
Nothing at all.
So, the online lead source, we had a dealer actually in yesterday looking at our online modern retailing system, and they only measure their online retailing through how much does that lead cost me. They just treat it like a lead. And we all know how salespeople are with leads. They're perfect 100% of the time, right?
Oh, yeah.
So if you're monetizing this or just commoditizing it down to a click and a lead, you're not gonna win. You're not doing anything innovative or new. It's a new sales channel. We had another dealer that said, you know what, I don't need to sell cars online because my clients don't buy cars online. It's like, no, because they're not your clients, because they're buying next door because they sell cars online. There are people in every market, in every age group, in every region that want to buy online. They want to change the way that things are going. And even if I want to buy a car in person, my son doesn't. He wants to buy online. So
he doesn't. He
things are
doesn't
changing.
know the in person. 100%. And what's funny? That dealer. The reason that dealer says that is because the only people he sees buying cars buy them in person, and he's missing them. And what's really funny is a friend of mine got into big trouble on LinkedIn, and he had posted how he was looking for a car for himself, and he sent out some leads to some dealers in his area. He wanted to keep local, and I believe the numbers are askew, and every time I recollected different numbers. But I think he sent out 5 leads. He knew what he wanted. It wasn't like, tell me what I should buy. He knew what he wanted. 5 leads, 2 autoresponders. We it's like the music on hold. Your business is important to us. But he got 2 autoresponders, 1 calling, and 2 nothings. So he didn't like anything. So he expanded by 10. Guess what his return was?
Same percentage.
Less. Then he expanded it until he got a response from somebody, and it was immediate, and that person engaged him right away. Hi, my name's Chuck. I'm here for, it was an email lead, so we didn't get a text, but he got it within about a minute. So you got to give the time to get there. So this person responded immediately, and he was 200 miles away. Guess where he bought his car?
200 miles away.
200 miles away, and I'll guarantee the first time he takes it in for service, somebody's going to say, why did you do that?
People are willing, there's another study that we did where we learned that people are willing to drive 150 kilometers, 100 miles roughly, away to buy a car, but they're only willing to drive less than 10 to get it serviced. So if you want to get that business and expand that net, you've got to do that right thing by those leads for sure. Was that MC, by the way, that was looking for that vehicle?
Exactly.
Yeah, okay, I read that post.
And he got slagged. Oh, did he get, some people are so mad at, how can you do this? You're a car guy. How can you do this for us?
And that's the thing, is he's a car guy, and it still happened to him. I mean, come on. The one thing about experience, and this is, I've said this story 100 times to my sales reps, is a lot of car dealers, especially generational ones, have never had to buy a car. Nope. They've always just gotten keys out of the key cabinet, driven it home. They don't know what it's like to do the research, drive up, park around the corner because you don't want anyone to see what you're trading in. You white knuckle it, your significant other saying, okay, we're not going to spend any more than this. We're not going to spend any more than this. Don't spend any more than this. We're not going to need extended warranty. You're worried about getting approved for credit. And when you finally do, you go into the box and realize, oh my gosh, payments are going to be way higher. And then you finally take a delivery of your vehicle like 4 days later. I mean, that experience is awful. And there's a lot of folks that are out of touch. And when a car guy can't get a car, and make no mistake, MC can pick up the phone and call anyone and they would have the best vehicle experience for him. But for him to do that academic exercise, it still showed we've got a lot of work to do.
Well, it does, but it's funny. We do a lot of stuff right. I remember a dealer. He had his son coming up, and he told his son, "Here's the way it's going to work. First of all, as a kid, he did the car wash thing, blah 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 blah. But he shipped him off to a buddy of his on the other side of the country, because you're going to work for him. If you make it as a salesman, and he is interested in promoting you as a manager, and will teach you. Once he says you're good, you can come back here and take it over. If he doesn't, don't worry, you're going to take it taken care of, but you ain't touching my dealership." And lo and behold, he was top salesman, he became a sales manager, and he almost had to fight the other guy to leave. And that's the way to do it. And there's, we won't get into that because there's a lot of multi-generational operations here. And you'll see, actually, it's funny when you come here, you'll see, you can tell who the dealer is, the father, I hate to say it. And then you will have the older offspring, and you can tell they're the next in line, and then the others. And unfortunately, in many cases, I've seen that the dealers dress normally, the rest are in labels. We're running out of time, but is there anything else you'd like to share to our audience, that a takeaway or an opinion? Or
I'll just say this. First of all, thanks so much for having me on.
oh, thank you.
This is awesome.
And
Being in this great booth, and we said it off the start, and I will say this. This is our industry. This is our Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Right? It's a great show. I've had amazing conversations. I'm about 2 hours away from my voice going completely blown out. But to be able to connect with people in person, see you face to face for the first time, not over Zoom, that to me was worth the flight down here. We're thrilled to be here. We love our industry, and we're just over the top of this back.
Yeah, I agree, and it's about time we take back that greatness, and people got to talk good about us. I got to tell you something. If you were to tell somebody you're a tech entrepreneur outside of the car business, they go, "Oh, way to go!" Or you're in the car business. I don't know. Thanks again. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for watching, and thanks to the people at Poly for hosting us. Have a great day. We'll see you soon. Bye bye.